In this video, we are going to learn how to simplify fractions. To understand what we mean by simplifying fractions, first of all, let us consider three rectangles, 1, 2, and 3. Now, let us divide the first rectangle into 6 equal parts. Let us divide the second rectangle into 4 equal parts. And let us divide the third rectangle into 2 equal parts. Now, let us shade these 3 parts for the first rectangle. And for the second rectangle, let's shade these 2 parts. And for the third rectangle, let us shade this part. Now, we can see that we have shaded the same proportion of each of the 3 rectangles. Now, in the first rectangle, we have a total of 6 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And out of them, 3 are shaded. So what fraction does that represent? It represents the fraction 3 divided by 6. If we have a look at the second rectangle, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. And out of those 4 parts, 2 are shaded. So what fraction does that represent? It represents 2 divided by 4. And if we have a look at the last rectangle, we can see that there are 2 parts, and out of them just 1 is shaded. So what fraction does that represent? It represents 1 divided by 2. But we can see that the same proportion of all of the rectangles has been shaded. What does that mean? That just means that all of these fractions are the same. So 3 divided by 6 is equal to 2 divided by 4 is equal to 1 divided by 2. But only one of them is a simplified fraction. In this case, 1 divided by 2 is a simplified fraction. What does this mean? This means that if we simplify 3 divided by 6, we will obtain 1 divided by 2. And if we simplify 2 divided by 4, we will obtain 1 divided by 2. And our goal is to obtain a fraction which has the same value as the original fraction, but in which the numerator and denominator are as small as possible. So how do we do that? Now, there are a few methods we can use to simplify fractions. The first method is to guess and check. Let us explain this method using an example. Consider the fraction 12 divided by 18. Now, we want to simplify this fraction, so what we're going to do is we're going to look for a common factor of the numerator and the denominator. Now, if we have a look at the numerator, we can see that it is 12. That's an even number. And the denominator is 18. That's also an even number. So that means that both of these numbers are divisible by 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide the numerator and the denominator by 2. And if we do that, we end up with 12 by 2, which is 6, and 18 by 2, which is 9. Now, if we have a look at the numerator and denominator, now we can see that the numerator is 6. We can divide that by 3, and we can also divide the denominator 9 by 3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to divide the numerator by 3, and we're going to divide the denominator by 3. Now, 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So we have 2 divided by 3. And this is our required simplified fraction because 2 and 3 do not have any common factors. So this is our required answer. Now, what did we do here? We guessed and checked. What does that mean? First of all, we guessed that we can use the number 2 to reduce this fraction. We do that, and then we check to see whether the resulting fraction is simplified or not. We can see that it is not simplified, and so we divide the numerator and denominator by 3, and then we end up with our simplified fraction 2 divided by 3. So this is the method of guess and check. The next method we can use to simplify fractions is to divide the numerator and denominator by the greatest common factor, that's the GCF. So let us consider the fraction 12 divided by 18. What we need to do is determine the GCF of the numerator 12 and the denominator 18. So let's do that. So first of all, consider the number 12. Let us determine all of its prime factors. So note that 12 is equal to 3 times 4. Now 4 can be written as 2 times 2. So that means that the factors of 12 will be 3, 2, and 2, meaning that 12 is equal to 3 times 2 times 2. Next, let us consider the number 18. Now 18 can be written as 3 times 6, and we can write 6 as 2 times 3. So what does that mean? That means that 18 is equal to 3 times 2 times 3. Now to determine the GCF, we are going to determine the common prime factors of 12 and 18. So let's have a look. We can see that we have a 3 in both cases. We can see that we have a 2 in both cases. And so our GCF will just be 3 times 2, which is equal to 6. So now what we're going to do is we're going to divide the numerator 12 by 6, and we're going to divide the denominator 18 by 6. If we do that, what do we get? 12 by 6 is 2, 18 by 6 is 3. And so the simplified fraction is 2 divided by 3. And we have obtained that by dividing both the numerator and denominator by the GCF, which is 6. Another method we can use to simplify fractions is to factor the numerator and the denominator. So let us consider the fraction 12 divided by 18. Now, if we draw a factor tree like we did just a bit earlier, then we can see that 12 is equal to 2 times 2 times 3, and 18 is equal to 2 times 3 times 3. Now, what we can do next is cancel out the common factors. So we can cancel out these two 2's, and we can cancel out these two 3's. And so what are we left with? We are left with just 2 in the numerator and just 3 in the denominator. So that means that this is now equal to 2 divided by 3, and this is our required simplified fraction. It is 2 divided by 3. Now let us have a look at a few practice problems to see how we can use these methods to simplify fractions. Consider the first fraction over here, 12 divided by 48. Let us use the method of guess and check for this one. Now note that the numerator 12 and the denominator 48 are both divisible by 3. So let's divide them by 3. So we have 12 divided by 3, and we have 48 divided by 3. Now 12 divided by 3 is equal to 4, and 48 divided by 3 is equal to 16. Now let us check our fraction. We have 4 over 16. Now this is not a simplified fraction. Why? Because 4 is divisible by 4 and 16 is also divisible by 4. So they have a common factor. So let's divide both by 4. So we have 4 divided by 4 and 16 divided by 4. Now 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1, and 16 divided by 4 is equal to 4. So this is our answer. This is the required simplified fraction, 1 divided by 4, and that's because 1 and 4 do not have any common factors. Now let us move on to our next fraction. Now the next fraction is 27 divided by 45. Now let us use the method of dividing the numerator and denominator by the GCF for this one. So the numerator is 27 and the denominator is 45. So let's draw the factor trees for these. So we have 27. 27 can be written as 3 times 9. And 9 is 3 times 3. And next, let us consider 45. Now 45 is 5 times 9. And 9 is 3 times 3. So let us look for the common factors. We have 1 3 over here and another 3. So our GCF is 3 times 3, which is equal to 9. So let us divide the numerator by 9, and let us divide the denominator by 9. Now 27 divided by 9 is equal to 3, and 45 divided by 9 is equal to 5. So this is our required simplified fraction. It is 3 divided by 5. Now let us have a look at our next fraction. We have 28 divided by 98. Now let us use the method of factoring both the numerator and denominator for this one. So the numerator is 28 and the denominator is 98. So let's factor these two. So first of all, we have 28. Now 28 can be written as 4 times 7, and 4 can be written as 2 times 2. And if we consider 98, we can write 98 as 2 times 49, and 49 can be written as 7 times 7. So using these factor trees, we can see that 28 is 2 times 2 times 7, and 98 is 2 times 7 times 7. Now let us cancel out the common factors. Let us cancel out these two 2's, and let us cancel out these two 7's. So we are left with 2 in the numerator and 7 in the denominator. So what does that mean? That means that this fraction has been simplified to 2 divided by 7. And so this is our required simplified fraction. It is 2 divided by 7. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. See you next time.